Welcome back to part 3 of the Portfolio Build Along on Salesforce Experience Cloud. The last time we met, we talked about the hero and the navigation bar, and today we're going to be going over the fonts. We're going to create a footer, and I'll show you how you can finish off your pages. So at the end of this lesson, you will be able to customize fonts in settings or CSS with Google Fonts, use the rich text editor to add content to your pages, create a footer, link the footer icons to websites. So first we're going to talk about changing and customizing the font. The builder comes loaded with a number of fonts that you can choose right out of the box. If you go to themes and then you go to fonts, you'll see that it is preloaded with a number of fonts. So right now you can change your header and you can change your primary, and I want to change the title on my header, my hero image, to something else. So I'm going to change it to Play Fair Display, and you'll see that the title changed or my name changed. And if I change the primary font, you'll see that the links and the banner, the text in the banner will change as well. But what if you have kind of an idea of a font you want to use that is not listed there? Well, you can have the option of editing the CSS sheet where you can load up the font from Google Fonts and use a custom font. The way you do that is first you got to download the font. So you'll go to Google Fonts, and you'll see that Google Fonts has a lot of fonts. There's a lot of them. So one of the things I do, if you kind of want to get an idea of what the font's going to look like, you can actually change the text to what you are going to have your text be, so you can see what the font's going to look like. You can also change it from serif, sans serif, display, handwriting. I know that I want my title to be changed, so I'm just going to search for display fonts. And you can also, if you know the font name, you can just go up and search for it, like I'm going to do here for Ranchers. Once you find the font that you like, you go up to the upper right-hand side and you want to download the font to your computer. So you just click on Download Family. It'll download into a zip file. And then we have to add it as a static resource into our org. So let's go back to the setup page in our developers org, and we will add it to static resources. So in setup, in the quick find box, you just want to type in static and then click on static resource. And then you will click on New. And we have to name our resource, which should be the name of the font that you're going to use. It doesn't allow spaces, so if there is a space in the font name, I suggest doing an underscore. And the file that you save to your computer, when you choose the file, make sure that you are only choosing the single TTF file. There is another way that we can do it with the whole zip file, but it's a lot easier to just download this single font, so regular TTF. And you also want to make sure that you make it public so it's available on our site. And then click Save. Now we'll go back to our site and go to that CSS sheet, and I'll show you how to use it to add the font to our site. So what you want to do is anywhere in the themes there's going to be a little drop down, and no matter if you're in fonts, colors, or whatever. So go to the Edit CSS and you want to click on Override. And what they're telling you right now is they're kind of warning you that you want to use this sparingly because it can mess up if they update the theme, and there's some things that we did with the CSS. But right now we are just going to add a font, which should cause no problems because it'll default back to the default font. The way we do that is we use @font face and then curly bracket. And in the curly bracket, we're going to put font-family, and the name of our font that we downloaded. In my case, it's Ranchers. Make sure it's in quotation marks. And here, if it's in quotation marks and it has a space in the name, continue to keep the space in font family. And next, you're going to put your source, which is src, colon, and then you'll put the URL for that static resource. And it's always going to be / your site name, in my case, my portfolio, /s / sf sites / c / resource, and then the name of your font, and then click Save. Now to use our font, we go back into Themes, click on the header font, and if you go all the way to the bottom, it says Use Custom Font. You'll click on that, and now you'll name your font. My font's name is Ranchers, and then click Save. And now you'll see that the font has changed in my Hero section. And now I can use that font anywhere I want in my site. So now, the last time we talked, you should have already created a navigation bar on the About Me page. So we're going to just work on the content section and the footer section. So what I'm going to do here is I want to split the layout. Remember, the layout is just a placeholder for your components. And I want it to be one side like a profile picture, the other side is some content, About Me content, and a title. And so the way that you would split up the section is by, in this case, I did a 4x8, and I also want to make the margin a little bit larger on the sides, and so the content is not so wide. You could also add a background image behind your content. I'm just going to leave it the background page for now, or background page color for now. So the way that you add content, and you will use this throughout your entire site, is by going and dragging the rich content editor. So you go up there, type in rich, drop it into your section, and then it's just like any rich text editor. You can add audio, you can add video, you can add an image, it's just like a regular text editor. So I'm going to, on this side, put in my profile image, and I will pull it from my asset library. And you can also resize the images. Now on the right side, you have to, again, go up there to the Components button and drag the rich text editor into that section to use it. You'll have to do that every time you use it on any of those placeholders. So here I'm just going to make a simple title, About Me title, and then add some content. So you can center the title, and I'm going to type in About Me. Now you'll notice if I go over there to Format, and I actually use the format for heading, it will use the font that I just created for my Hero section heading. And now I'm going to copy and paste some Lorem Ipsum to act as my content. You can also make the font larger, a different color. I'm going to make it a little bit larger since I don't have a lot of content for this page. And that's how you would add content to all of your pages. We will work on the contact page together in part 4, but for all of your other pages, that's how you will be adding content. So you would also use the same procedure to add your footer. The only difference is that in the footer you cannot break it up into sections. It would just be one section. But what we're going to do is in our footer we are going to add some icon images for, I'm going to add one for Trailhead profile, one for the LinkedIn profile, and one for my GitHub profile. And you can add whatever you want here. You can also add text. It doesn't matter if it's a combination of text and images, but I'm going to keep it simple, and you just stick with the icons for Trailhead, GitHub, and LinkedIn. So now I'm going to center them and make them a little bit smaller. Now the way that you link them to your pages is you will just go ahead and click on the image until it's highlighted, and then click on the link in the editor, and then add the URL here. So I will add my Trailhead Me, and then do the LinkedIn, and then add my GitHub profile URL. So if you go up to preview, you can see what your page will look like. And you'll notice that when I put the footer on the About page, it will also create that on all the other pages, except for the home page. The home page uses a different template, but if you put the footer or header or the nav bar in the About Me page, it will add them to all of the rest of the pages as well. So now you still have to go into the home page and add a footer there also, because doing it on the About Me page did not add it, so you'll still need to do that. And that is it for the About Me page. It is pretty much complete. I'm sure that yours will have more information on it than mine did, but you now know how to add content to your site. So now you should be able to change the fonts and the settings, change your fonts using the CSS, create a footer, and add links to the image icons. So now that you're able to use the rich text editor, you can complete all your site pages except for the contact page. In part 4, I'm going to create a web to leave form that we will work with to do our contact page, which will, anytime anyone leaves a comment or a question, it will create a lead into our org. So that is it for part 3, and we'll see you next time on part 4, where we'll cover the contact page and the web to lead form.